What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So y'all see these bad boys right here? These are printed out of Tpu 95A Cookie CAD Unicorn 95A TPU that I printed for my daughter on the K2 Plus. Really? Yeah, the K2 Plus. So I'm going to show y'all how I did this in the slicer and the mod that I did to the extruder. So if y'all want to be able to print awesome looking freaking sandals or slides or shoes, which these are 95A, I'm going to try some 85A, 80A, 90A, stuff like that in the near future. But if you want to print stuff like this on the K2 Plus, stick around because I'm going to show you how to do it. Heck yeah. Alright, for this TPU mod, take your cover off of your extruder here. Then come over here to this, and right here is your motor. So hit that, turn that off, let that lower. Then you can bring this right here forward to where you can work on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off, we're going to take out this bolt right here, this bolt, and then over here if you can see there's a bolt, there's a screw here and a screw here. We're not going to mess with this top and bottom one. This center one that's inset there, I don't know if you can see it. Let me turn my light on here. And let me just take it off here so I can shine it in here. But this offset one that's right in there, there you go. We're going to take that one out. Alright, let me get you back on the tripod here. Alright, you're going to need size H 2.0. That's the shorter one. I've already done this mod, but I'm going to show y'all. And the bottom one is the longer one. So keep them, know which one's which, and then we'll go over here to this side one that's indented here. And we'll take it out. You can see how small that one is. And I just dropped it. Alright, so now be careful taking this out. Alright, so now as you can see, we got this right here. There's a spring inside here. Alright, now that I think that we're in a better situation, better camera angle and all that good stuff. So right here is the spring you want to take out. The stock spring is real stiff. So I'll put a link in the description. You can get some of these softer springs here. And I bought some of these M3 thumb screws. So You could either buy them, or as long as you got an M3 screw. And I probably wouldn't go bigger than, say, 10 or 12 millimeters long. It doesn't have to be that long, but you're going to need 2 of these springs, one for here and one for your thumb screw. And right here's my thumb screw and spring. So we'll set that right there. So what you want to do right now is you want to take this out. That was left in there. And we need this. Put that back down in there. So this right here is how it should look when it comes out. This right here sometimes gets stuck up there on the extruder. You just pull it out, stick that back down in there. So we're going to take this spring out here, and you kind of want to be careful so it don't shoot out like that. So here we got your spring. Now you want to print. I'll try to find a link to these things. This is like a spring stopper. You want to print one of these. I printed mine in ABS, so you can print it in PETG. I don't think you should print it in PLA because of the heat from the hot end. But you'll want to stick that down in there like that. And then right here on your lever, you got a little hole right there. Your spring will go inside there like that. Now this gets a little tricky putting this back in here. You want to get this started in there first, and that's why I got this little thing. Sometimes you'll need a little thin piece of something to kind of help guide that in there. So what we want to do is we want to try to get this thing to sit right there so you can press the spring in. And like I said, it's going to get a little difficult, but I've done it. So, and whenever you get that, you want to make sure that you line this hole up right here with this little nipple. Line that up, fill it around with a little bit, and it snap right into place. And I'll use this right here. I got it snapped into place. I'll use this right here to kind of, if it ain't pushed down, push that down a little bit in there, just like that. And now we're ready to put it back on the extruder. So let me get the camera situated and I'll be right back with that. Alright, so now we get this thing put back in there. So be careful of your cutter right here. So we're going to try to get everything lined back up the way it's supposed to go. And boom, that easy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put on the cover screw here. And we're just going to start it. We're not going to tighten it down yet. Just start it. Get your longer one. Go ahead and fit it right in there. Get your shorter one for the top left corner. And we're just going to start these until we get all of them, or until we get this one started. And then get this bottom one here started in there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to where it just barely, you feel some resistance like that. Same thing. Alright, now that they got some resistance, we're going to go ahead and tighten it down. Alright, now, so you can see when you get the softer spring, like look at this. That's way softer than your stock one. That stock one is stiff. And technically, with this, if you're just going to run TPU, you don't even need to put that thumb screw in there. This thumb screw is basically for whenever, so you can adjust it in to tighten this up just a tad bit to run your PLA, your PETG, and your ABS. So anyways, when you get the 10mm one and you put this on, you can see like there's a lot. So what I did was I cut my spring here to where the tip of that screw is just barely sticking out. So we're going to screw this in here, get it started, and then I'm going to try to show y'all. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to pull this forward here, and maybe if I can get this camera in a certain position. Alright, you see it moving? So now it's moving. You can see the white ABS part in there. So we want to back this out. There we go. And to whenever you're running like PLA or PETG or whatever, you just tighten this in just a little bit. And what this spring is for is to keep tension on this thumb nut to keep it from backing out. Alright, see, there we go. There's your PLA, your PETG, your ABS. And then when you're ready to do TPU again, you just back this out like this right here. Bam, right there you go. Now, you're not going to be able to install your cover back on there, but you can run this without a cover, or you can print you a special cover. The next thing that I do is I take a little piece like this right here, I put in there. Alright, so I'm going to get y'all back on the tripod and I'll be right back. So, y'all don't have to print this contraption, but I highly suggest it if you're going to be doing TPU, or find some other file to do a top spool. So if you notice my bearings here, like when this thing jerks, you see how that keeps spinning? Just barely touch it, man, and that thing will spin like nobody's business. So what happens is when this is in here and this thing jerks back, it'll jerk this spool, and that freaking thing will spool out and then get all tangled up. So what I did was I took some fishing weights. These are 6 ounce. And I tied them like this. And I put them over that like this. I put 2 on this side because I realized I needed 3. So like that right there. Now when you spin it, it's got that weight on there. So it kind of holds it. Especially if you got good bearings. So see, it stops. So alrighty. So let's get over here to the computer. Alright, so we're going to go to makerworld.com. We're going to download this. Then we're going to go to Creality Print. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and load us up our Tpu Slides. Open as project. And since this was downloaded off MakerWorld, it's going to open up like bamboo. So it's got your bamboo plate. So we're going to go over here. We're going to pick the K2 Plus. We're going to rotate this around. We're going to get rid of this other shoe, because it's too freaking confusing doing it that way for me. Alright, now we're going to rotate this shoe around. Get it how I want it. Alright. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to pick our TPU, and we're going to go over here and edit the stock profile. So what we're going to change is we're going to change pressure advance to 0.04, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom. Max volumetric speed 3 millimeters per second. Change that to 3. Then we're going to go to cooling. We're going to go right here. We're going to change this to no cooling at 1. Full fan speed at layer number 4. Right there. And then we're going to go down here to minimum fan threshold. Change that to 30%. Maximum fan threshold 40%. That way the minimum fan speed is going to be 30 and the maximum is going to be 40%. These over here we don't have to mess with. And I believe that's all we have to mess with here. Going to overrides. Alright. So right here we're going to check this box on retract on layer change and check the box over here to the left on wipe while retracting. And we're going to uncheck these boxes. And that is it that we have to do. So then you're going to go down here and save as, and save it at whatever name you want as your TPU profile. This is how I print TPU. So after you save it, you're good. So now we have our TPU profile right here. Now we're going to go right here and since I'm going to press M, go get back to this, and since these are for my daughter, I'm going to resize them. And so going back to right here, as you can see right here is your sizing chart. So the profile that you download is going to be 42.5 Europe and 9 US. That's at 100%. Well, my daughter don't wear that big of size, so we're going to take it down to 7.5, right? Or not 7.5, 7. Well, this sizing chart only goes to 94% at 7.5. Well, if you look, 100%, 98%, that's 2. 96% for the next half. 94% for 7.5. So I'm going to take this down to say a 92 for a 7. Alright, so back to here. So we're going to go over here and we're going to go ahead and edit this shoe how we want it, or this slide how we want it. So we're going to go over here to strength, go down here to infill, and we're going to change this grid to gyroid. And I'm going to knock this percentage down to 12% instead of 15%. Then I'm going to go right here to supports. I'm going to enable supports, turn on tree manual, organic, build plate only. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to go down here to the top Z distance. this is what touches your print from the supports, and it's set at 0.2. Well, I'm going to do a 0.25, which it might need more off of that, maybe a 0.29, but I'm doing a 0.25 to be safe. This is going to be a very long print, and the last thing I want it to do is fail. Especially after you get 30 hours into a print and it fails. That sucks. So alright, since we got that changed, now what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, click on our model, and we're going to go over here and we're going to paint some supports. So the supports that's on this, if I can ever get Creality Print to let me move these boxes, that would be fantastic. There we go. So we're going to move that over here, and as you can see, the stock profile already has it how the guy did it, the guy that made it, but he has it to where the top of it's down and the supports is all on the top. Well, I don't want all those. If the supports do cause an issue, I do not want it on the face that's showing. I want the supports to be pretty much on the bottom. So we're going to erase all painting that he did. And I'm going to go right here, especially right here, and I'm going to paint a little thin line right here to build supports across here. Alright, just like that. Now I'm going to make this pen size bigger, and since this right here is going to be what's touching the build plate, I'm going to go ahead and paint some supports right here. I don't really want to get this top part right here showing because you're going to be able to see that. So then I'm going to just put a little bit of paint right here. Alright. Now, right here in the very middle, I'm going to just paint a line across here. And right here, that's going to be sticking way up in the air here. I'm just going to paint a little bit right here. And now, we should be good for the supports. Well, shoot. Let's go back. I got to put a little thin line right here in the very back, because I don't know how this is going to print, and I just want to be safe because I don't want it to fail, especially at the very end of the print. Alright, so now got our build plate. Now see, we edited this one shoe. Okay, so now I'm going to clone this shoe, and as you can see, it's two lefts. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on here, and I'm going to mirror along the X axis. There we go. Now you can see it's flipped the right way. So now we got a left and a right shoe. Make sure all of our stuff, 0.2 millimeter layer height. Da, da, da. I don't think we need anything in here. Nope. So all we changed was the strength, changed it to gyroid infill. We painted our own stuff. And we're going to hit slice. Alright. So now it has finally sliced. So you can see print time 1 day, 23 hours. So you might as well say 2 days, 48-hour print. And you can see where we got these supports painted on, and it will print like this. And so heck yeah. So we got 1 day, 23 hours, 639 grams of filament. $15.98 filament cost. Might as well say $16 in filament cost to print these. So there we go. Let's send it to printer. Bam. So here we go. We're about halfway through the slides with the cookie CAD filament. This is where you can see the infill portion of it. It's wanting to focus on the there we go. So right there is the filament, or the gyroid infill that I chose. So heck yeah, we're about halfway through the print. We got 9 hours left, and so far we've been printing 26 hours. 95A TPU cookie CAD. They're unicorn color. So shoot, yeah, we'll be right back once it gets finished. Check it out. They are done. Holy crap, check those out. Shoot, yeah. Let's do a top down. Heck yeah, let's get it off this build plate and I'll be right back. Oh yeah, look at that. 0.25 Z height. Let's hope that these come off the same way. Cookie CAD Unicorn TPU. Shoot, yeah. Check it out. So, if y'all enjoyed that video and y'all want to see more of my printing, I print Hue Forges, models and stuff like that. I've been doing live streams, so you can go back and check out the live streams that I have done on Hue Forges and stuff like that. But if you want to continue seeing prints like this and how-tos and stuff like that with your K2 Plus, I also have a Bamboo Labs X1 Carbon. I'll be using both of those. So if you want to see that type of stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell notification, because I do lives too, live stream printing. So make sure you like this video and come back for more. Appreciate you. Peace.